Hello guys, today I'm going to be making my own tutorial for Roblox Studio. Now I know this has been done so many times, but I just thought I'd make one. Hope you guys enjoy. Just to let all of you know, this will not involve any scripting. It will involve a lot of stuff that's not necessarily building or scripting, just kind of the ins and outs of Studio, I guess you could say, and also building. So I'll begin with the basics. So here you are in Roblox Studio, assuming you already are in your place. So you should probably be in the Home tab, but most of the time that is not the tab that you'll want. I would recommend, okay, I'll close these real quick as you probably don't have them opened yet. So mostly you're going to be in Model, so go ahead and click that tab. And you can insert a part. If you go up to your toolbar, go to the right, and then see part and click it. So here you can see your increments, but you'll see what that does in a second. Select allows you to select specific things. You can select a singular part. You can also move it by eye with select, which can be useful sometimes. Move allows you to move more precisely than you could with select. And you might want to change, because by default I believe it is on one stud movement, so it will be a little choppy like this. And you might want to get some really small details smaller than this. So if you go over here, click this, and change it to the number you want. And as you use Studio more and experiment with this, you'll find what number works for you the best. And then for me, I usually have it on 0.25. If I'm doing really detailed, I'll do 0.1. And then sometimes if I just want to kind of have everything be a little bit equal, I'll just have it on half a stud. And that's a good increment because it kind of lets you get it pretty exact without losing count of where you are and everything. Scale, when you insert your part, you'll go to scale if you want to make it bigger or smaller. You'll use these circles, pretty self-explanatory past that. Rotate, also rather self-explanatory. Transform, I wouldn't recommend using it too much. I personally never use it, but I mean, I suppose if you're trying to do a lot at once, it could help. But yeah, especially for beginners, I don't suggest it. Rotate, works the same as that. You can change the increment. And if you want to insert like a different thing than just a block, you can click on the arrow and it will open a menu of different shapes you can make. You can make the sphere, the block I've showed you, the wedge, and the cylinder. Now there are some other more complex shapes, but we'll get into those later. You can't access them with this. So these are the basic 4 shapes. And here's another thing that you'll want. So you'll probably want to change what this block looks like. You've got the size and the location and all that down, but how do you change what it looks like? Well, you want to go by material, choose the material you want. So let's say you're trying to make a brick wall. You would choose brick, then you would go to color and choose the color of your choice. and boom, you have it. And then you can always change your color and then select something, and if you want to change it to that color, just click. And here is a very important part that it is easy to forget, but it's also easy to catch, so you'll be able to fix it. Anchor everything. Basically what anchoring does, I'll go into test mode to show you anchored versus unanchored, and I'll get into how you do testing in a moment. So anchored, not anchored. This one can fall down, this one cannot. So I know I said it always anchor, but of course there are going to be times you might want it to be unanchored, and that's perfectly fine, just don't anchor it. And sometimes there might be something in a building where you want it so that you won't need to select it, because you don't want to constantly be selecting it when you don't want to. The way you do that is basically by locking it, and then after doing that, see, selecting it does nothing. Now you can unlock it by going to unlock tool, which now it's unlocked. That's what the base plate does, and now I just used the unlock tool to, well, unlock it, so I'm gonna lock that back. Union, negate, and separate are a little bit advanced. I'll get into them in the next video because there's a good bit more to get into. Effects, again, the next video. All this stuff past here I'll get into in another video. Now testing is pretty self-explanatory. You can do play and then an arrow, play here, run. Run is useful mainly for if you have scripts, it will enact those scripts. Play here is useful, so the only ones I really use is play and play here. And here's a very important thing. Go to view, explore, and properties. That's not my default layout, that is. So this allows you to, so explore allows you to access everything in your game without actually clicking at that. And it lets you do specific stuff. You can also change properties that you couldn't before. And you'll notice that when you select something just in the game, it also takes you to it in Explore, and then open up properties and you can see some stuff about that and change it. So here are the two main appearance things you can change that you can't change normally, and I'll be using the sphere as an example. So here is reflectance. Now this is how you can make stuff shiny. So as you see, the higher reflectance I get, the more shiny it is. And when it's at full shiny, well, full reflectance, it literally just reflects the sky. That's what reflectance is. It's not necessarily shininess, but that's essentially what it does. And then if you want it to go be extra shiny and glossy, you can make it smooth plastic instead of normal plastic. So it's personal judgment how close to the sky you want it to be while still being shiny. Then you've got transparency. Transparency, you can lift it up and then you can partially see through it. The closer to 1 the value is, well, the more invisible it is. And so yes, you can just experiment with that. And yeah. And another neat trick, it's not necessarily anything you'll need to know, but just a neat trick, if you go over 1 on reflectance, you'll have to manually type the numbers in. You can literally make it glow. So plugins, again, are a little bit advanced. And one more thing before the end of this video. So a quick disclaimer. Using this is discouraged. To make an original game, you should use none or close to none. I mean, the less you know about development, the more okay it is to use the toolbox per se. But if you want to make a real professional game, try to stay away from the toolbox as much as you can. I just use the toolbox for tools like weapons in my game, and then sometimes like shift to sprint, and that's about it usually. And I can go more into depth about how it all works in a future video, but for now, that will be it. Oh, well, actually, one more thing. If you go to play your game, it'll probably just be an empty base plate. So you want to go to File and then Publish to Roblox whenever you're ready for it to be played. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Goodbye.